Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is considered by many as the best Spider-Man film, despite it being animated and not starring the original Spider-Man himself, Peter Parker. And while it may not have been the most successful Spider-Man film at the box office, it is widely considered one of the best comic book films among fans and critics, even taking home the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. Earlier this week, it was announced that the Spider-Verse sequel would be releasing April 2022 with a short teaser that featured multiple different colored spider logos. Now, I could have made a video discussing what characters I think each symbol represents, but to be honest, some of these logos could work for any character, so there really wouldn't have been much of a discussion other than I think this could work for that. So today I wanted to share my list of the top 5 Spider-Man characters I'd like to see appear in the Spider-Verse sequel in no particular order, with 2 spots on this list representing multiple characters, which I will explain later. To begin, the first of 5 Spider-Man characters I'd like to see appear in the next Spider-Verse movie is one of my personal favorites, not just because of the suit, Mayday Parker's Spider-Girl. With the earlier news that Sony is working on getting an all-female Spider-Verse movie off the ground, I felt like the addition of Mayday Parker would be a perfect move in this film to familiarize the audience with her. It seems like this female Spider-Man character isn't that well known nowadays, with new characters like Silk and Spider-Gwen taking the spotlight, so I'd like to see my favorite female Spider character get a chance to shine in not just one but possibly 2 films. You could even mess with the timeline a bit and say that this film's Mayday Parker is the daughter of Peter B. Parker and Mary Jane, since the talk of wanting kids was brought up in the first film. The second alternate Spider-Man character that I'd like to see appear in this film is the Superior Spider-Man. This Spider-Man is one of the more recognizable ones in recent years, and with already having a live-action Doc Ock, a female Doc Ock being one of the antagonists from the previous films, why not have a Doc Ock who teams up with our heroes in the form of Spider-Man? I think this would create for some interesting interactions among the team, considering the Superior Spider-Man is still a bad guy at heart, and I even remember seeing panels where he straight up slaps Black Cat, and even a panel where he shoots a villain. So adding the Superior Spider-Man would not only create conflict among the rest of the characters due to the way he thinks, but he'd also be a good addition tech-wise since he's something of a scientist himself. Moving on, the third Spider-Man character I'd like to see is one that I'm not really the biggest fan of, but I think it would be a nice addition to the main cast with other out-of-time characters such as Penny Parker, Spider-Man Noir, and most likely Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man 1602. Although his costume may be bad by today's standards, this is one of the more standout alternate versions of Spider-Man due to his origin being associated with other 1602 Marvel characters and his nationality being different from other most known versions of the character. I also think this is one of the alternate versions of Spider-Man that doesn't really get that much recognition in today's media, other than a few obvious appearances in Spider-Verse comics and being an alternate skin in Shattered Dimensions. So due to this Spider-Man not being well known and different enough from the standard Peter Parker, I'd like to see what he could bring to the big screen. Mentioned at the beginning of the video, the 2 remaining slots on this list will be for multiple characters that can be categorized into 1 due to their similarities, with the first of the 2 remaining spots on this list going to every clone of Peter Parker from Ben Reilly to Kane and more. The Peter Parker clones are some of the most recognizable and popular Spider-Verse characters, and even if you're not a fan of the Clone Saga, there's no denying that the Scarlet Spider suits are some of the best outfits worn by wall crawlers. I'm not sure if it would be a good idea including all of the clones into the main story, but I think if 2 were to make an impact on the film's story, then the obvious characters to include in this film would be Kane and Ben Reilly. Finally, the 5th spot on this list belongs to what I would consider the best addition to a Spider-Verse film, at least one or all of the live-action Spider-Men making an appearance. This idea was explored in the first film, with Tobey Maguire almost voicing Peter Parker, as well as a deleted Tom Holland cameo, including a deleted scene with all movie Spider-Men at once, which I have videos on all those subjects linked below. And the main thing that always gets brought up regarding these ideas not making the final cut of the first film was that the audience would be too confused at what's going on, and I can somewhat agree with that since Tom Holland's Spider-Man was presumed dead at the time of the first film. It also looks like the multiverse is making its way into live-action Spider-Man media, with Tom Holland crossing over with Tom Hardy's Venom in the future, as well as a Madam Web film being developed. So I think by 2022, I think we should see at least one of the live-action Spider-Man making an appearance in this film. So there you have it, the 5 alternate editions of Spider-Man that I would like to see in the Spider-Verse sequel. Let me know what you guys thought of the video, including your personal list of the 5 alternate Spider-Man that you would like to see appear in this film. And depending on if you want me to, maybe I can get a video out discussing which Spider-Man these logos represent if you guys would be interested in seeing that type of thing. And as always, thanks for watching, be sure to subscribe, follow my social medias, and I will see you guys again in my next video.